Hey guys, this is Lisa from NYC Gal Out. Welcome back to my channel. I am like so not in the mood to even record this because the whole entire season has been so lackluster. It just felt like with that many people on the cast that there should have been more centered, and I felt like the whole entire season is basically the repeat of the previous season. I really don't care what Dorit and Kyle are fighting over. I don't care if they're friends or not, or if they're trying to be friends again. Like, I don't care. And anyway, guys, I woke up with like this big humongous zit right here. It's like right here on my chin. So Rhode Island is premiering on Thursday, which is April 2nd. It's just their premiere episode. The regular season is going to be on Sunday. But they were smart enough to realize, okay, Easter Sunday, we need to have the premiere episode Thursday, regular Thursday, April 2nd. Not much of anything going on. Anyway, let's get to the episode. They are still in Italy. It's boring, whatever. The group, they break up. One group goes grape stomping. The other group, they go off to talk their shit. It's Erica, Dorit, and Kyle. They go to have gelato or whatever. They're talking, and it's some bullshit about how Kyle cares about Dorit, and Dorit feels like whatever, and then Erica's interjecting. Listen, get a fucking storyline, you three, okay? But I'm not even gonna say to Dorit to get a storyline, because at this point, I feel like Kyle and Erica, you guys are jumping onto Dorit's storyline, because her whole storyline is, you know, she's got her shit going on with PK. He's a shitty husband, a shitty father, whatever, you know, whatever her storyline is. But Kyle, you and Erica, you guys are jumping onto Dorit's storyline this season, because like, girl, legit, you have, I'm not talking about Kyle, you have a wedding to plan. We saw like a hot 2 seconds of that, and the rest of the season is about you and Dorit, and you know, how you don't think she should talk about what's been going on with her divorce with PK, how you don't think she should be talking about PK so badly in the public, how you think that she's acting or erratic. Okay, so you don't think she should be talking badly about PK in public, but you think it's okay to say it to the whole world that you think she's acting off. You think she's acting manic. You think she's acting erratic. So what are you doing? You are a double agent, Kyle. Don't sleep on Kyle. Kyle's been activated, okay? Let me tell you. Kyle Richards is more a friend to PK Kemsley than she is to Dorit. Because how can you say, I don't think that it looks very good for you to talk so negatively about PK, you know? I'm just saying that, like, legally, you know, this doesn't look good for you because you guys are going through a divorce, which is true, Anything she says on television, on Bravo, whatever, all that stuff could be used against her in court. If she's talking shit about PK, she's making him look a certain way. And Kyle's right about that. It can absolutely be used against Dorit, and not in a favorable way. But at the same time, Kyle, how could you say, don't talk shit about PK because it's going to negatively affect your divorce, and then look in the camera and say, I think Dorit's been acting erratic, and I think she's being manic, and she's, you know, not being wise with her money and all this other stuff. I see it from Dorit's perspective, because then to me, I'm just like, oh, girl, like, you're trying to tell me not to talk shit about PK while you're talking shit to make me look bad. The reverse Uno is that PK, his lawyer, is going to go to court and say, well, this is a very close friend of Dorit, and, you know, she even is acknowledging to the whole entire universe that, you know, she's acting manic, she's not being responsible with money, she thinks there's something going on with her. Whatever, Kyle Richards. Like, can we talk about you and Kim, or you and Kathy, or you and Morgan? Like, we can't talk about any of that. That's all off topic because you share so much. Like, what the fuck have you shared? And so we can't talk about any of that. Okay. And then Erica, you're with like a new guy that like we can't even talk about. So like, I'm just like, you two need to get your own damn storyline. You need to get your own damn storyline. I am not a fan of Dorit. I am critical of everyone, okay? Everybody gets it. But it's like, Dorit, as boring as her storyline is, at least she's got something that is her own. Over there at the grape stomping scene, Boz and Amanda, they get into it about her freaking manifestation, whatever the hell. Look, one thing that I will say in defense of Amanda is, and I think she said this on Watch What Happens Live, which is that she doesn't have the power to take money away from another adult. If you feel that it was a waste of money or whatever, she is right in that regards. Because when you think of MLM, even palm readers, tarot card readers, if you believe that somebody has like this magic juju to get you love potion or, you know, whatever, that's on you though. And listen, as a teenager, I've been sucked into stuff like that, tarot card readers, palm readers, whatever. So while I have so much resentment and anger, yes, I was young and naive. I was 16 years old, but I chose to do that. And the thing is, selling a dream is not illegal. What she's selling is a dream. She's not saying, I'm gonna make you money. She's saying, you know, conquer up your own money. So that's basically selling a dream. So what she's doing is not illegal. I mean, is it scammy? It's no different than going to a tarot card reader or a palm reader who tells you that if you give them $350, they'll pray for you to whatever, or that the spirits are talking to them. Listen, I don't believe in that, whatever. There's people out there who believes in it. So you cannot go and argue with someone who believes in that, because they're just going to believe it. So it's the same sense. You can't go and convince someone that buys her courses, buy her books, buy her whatever, that this is just positive thinking and that you have all the tools to have your own positive thinking. You could talk to your ChatGPT to give you positive thinking. There is this old saying, which is that every second a sucker is born. So look, if there is somebody out there who believes that reading her book, doing her course is going to make them $1 million, then that's on them. And as far as I know, she isn't promising that you're going to be a millionaire. That is the legal line, the legal red line that she's kind of tiptoeing, but she apparently hasn't. And as long as she's not promising you that you're going to make money, this is just like coaching BS. You know, this is no different from MLMs. I don't think that a lot of people realizes that MLMs in themselves are not illegal. They only become illegal when they become pyramid schemes. MLM themselves are not illegal because there's nothing wrong with multi-level marketing if you have an actual product to sell. It crosses the line into a pyramid scheme when the profit is not from actually selling a product, but from trying to get others to join in. And it's like, you know, boss babe, you can make so much money. And so you're not actually generating a profit from selling the products. You're generating a profit by getting other people to join into the business model. And at the top, because it's a pyramid, and at the top, those are the people who make the money. But as you notice on a pyramid, on a triangle, is the people on the bottom that builds it up to the top. I personally wouldn't, just because I learned my lesson. But if there's people out there who, you know, they feel like, hey, I'm not going to pay off my student loan, I'm going to buy her courses instead, her $3,000 courses, that's on them. She's not forcing it on anyone. Even if it's bullshit, they are willing to do it. Anyway, Amanda and Boz, they get into this bullshit, whatever, I could care less, okay? I didn't enjoy this episode. I zoned out a lot. I didn't like the way that Kyle was talking. I always felt like, you know, Kathy, she was like the one in charge. You know, she's the grand dame of like freaking Beverly Hills. But like seeing the way Kyle like snapped at her was like, well, you know me, you know, are you going to side with me or are you going to side with her? But then I think of like the way she treated her sister Kim. And I was like, okay, you know what? I think Kyle is the bully because I always thought Kathy was the one in charge. But just seeing the way she spoke with Kathy, and then remembering in the limo when she was basically attacking her sister Kim. And then she's trying to make Natalie out to be a liar. But Natalie has always stated that I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought she was joking. Kyle's like, well, that's not what you said. That's not what you said. Girl, what did she say? Because that is exactly what she said. That's why I'm like, Kyle, are you okay? Because that is exactly what she said. But it's like in her head, she's like hearing a different conversation. I don't know, maybe she's dehydrated or something, because what the fuck was that? I do feel that Boz hit it on the nail when she said in her confessional that she sees what Kyle's doing. Kyle's trying to gather up support so that it makes it seem like she's in the right, that her criticism of Dorit is correct, that is the popular opinion. Amanda, listen, you think that Kyle and Sutton are your friends. No, they're not your friends. You're the newbie. And you're not a part of the inner circle. Even though you're a part of the cast, you're not a part of the inner circle. And because of that, they feel like you are the most easiest to influence, especially Sutton, because she's not someone that the other girls necessarily like. And that whole scene with her and Amanda where she's crying and she's like, I just thought that was wrong. Like, girl, what? No, she doesn't give a fuck about you. Because you're new, she feels that you are easily influenced. What you don't realize is that Kyle and Sutton very much for you and Dorit to have conflict. They want to see a huge blow up between the two of you. I'm critical of everyone, but I also can acknowledge the fact that this is very much the Kyle Richards show. She is the Teresa of her show. So I'm looking forward to Rhode Island. And then I think next week, Atlanta's coming back. Atlanta's got 2 new girls on, but I'm really looking forward to that because I really like Angela Oakley. I'm a Fangela. So she's my favorite. And I really want to see her and Phaedra going up against it. I do not like Phaedra. Phaedra, she talks a lot of word salad, but whenever she's caught in a lie, she's like, it's like she's singing Bop from the Hansons. It's an old ass song. But I just watched the Minions the other day, and like legit, that was like the song at the end credit of the Minions. Ba. Oh, guys, whatever. That was my childhood. I feel like California, they have two franchises, OC and Beverly Hills, and both of them are like boring as fuck. Anyway, that's it, guys. That's all I got for you.